Yes, guys, we are back here with Dr. Stephen Melning, and it's going to be, he is the chairman of the Life Amplified, and this topic is going to be about global high-impact commercial and humanitarian initiatives, the usual pitfalls, and how to avoid them. I believe it's better to give a word and this stage to Dr. Stephen Melning. He already joined us. Dr. Stephen, the stage is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some perspectives and, most importantly, opportunities for those listening and who are with us today or will listen in the future. Well, when we talk about the biggest pitfalls when it comes to initiatives of large scale or small scale, in the big scheme of things, it's really the same issue. The problem is that, as we all know, there are a lot of people who are passionate about the same things around the world. And they're very happy to get together to talk about things, right? Whether it's World Economic Forum, whether it's United Nations, whether it's TED Talk or different types of conferences. The problem is that, for the most part, nobody works together, right? And it's a human condition in many ways, right? Control, maybe some element of ego or greed or money or other matters, but that's a fact, right? People, for the most part, don't work together. And because of it, the global progress is stifled. Okay, it's very difficult. It's really practically impossible for the most part for an individual or even a group to create something that is really transformational. There are some exceptions in this life, right? Like Elon Musk of the world, but people cannot depend, the world cannot depend on just single individuals. And when people discover global institution like, let's say, United Nations, right? I mean, people get excited. They put some nonsense aside and try to work together to create something greater and bigger. But the problem, of course, is it's very, very difficult to get things done in a highly concentrated environment, let's put it this way. And one other, sooner or later, vast majority, if not all individuals, realize that it's very, very difficult to make that level of a difference in those environments. And so this is a major, major lesson that we learned from United Nations related experiment, right? That the world really needs this platform of that sort. It has to be a little simpler, or much simpler, and much more streamlined and much less bureaucratic. But there are other lessons that were learned. The other lesson was that you really cannot run initiative on humanitarian basis alone. It's really not sustainable. There's got to be, in the perfect world, or a better world even, a commercial arm that makes the entire humanitarian initiative sustainable. So you're not dependent, you don't go from crisis to crisis, no budget to no budget, and dependent on donations. And this is really the issue for vast majority of nonprofits out there. Since today you asked me to talk about both nonprofit and commercial world. So this is how and why this institution, Lives Amplified, Global Institution of World Leaders, has been created. It was created to serve as a platform to enable individuals, groups around the world to create something that is much greater, with much greater impact. But what we've done and how we approach it is actually pretty unheard of in the history of the world when it comes to global institutional organization. And that is, we haven't done the usual. What we could have done is, okay, we organize this institution, and this was created by world leaders. So of many, many different types. And if you looked at our board, which maybe one picture is worth 1,000 words. So some members of our board, maybe we could take a look at them. You'll see these are exclusively presidents, prime ministers from all across the world. In fact, it's a major gathering of heads of. Yes.
Dr. Stephen, yes, we need to see your screen because we see something else.
Oh, okay. So if you need to see my screen, then I'm very happy to project it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the screen, and you could take a look. You could see these are current, former heads of states, presidents, prime ministers from all over the world. on the levels of our board, it's exclusively former, which I'll discuss a little later. It's actually by design, but you'll see Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Southern Europe, Northern Europe, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean. So the question is, why did all these people unite and decide to carry out this very important mission? And the answer for this is very simple. It's because the world needs this. The world needs this platform in order to effectuate massive transformational, global, sustainable initiatives that actually make a difference. Because that's the only way to do this alone. It's a mission, practically speaking, impossible, as we discussed. But as I was saying, the way we approach it is actually unheard of in the history of humanity, and that is, instead of doing the usual, which is to create organization, identify some focus areas and some goals, and just run with it. And whoever wants to join, say, hey, this is how you do it, and you just march along, and you could take this part of the mission, this part. Instead, we kind of paused and said, what is the best way to create an institution that actually makes a difference and has an impact across the world, and where this impact and this difference is done in a way that uses least amount of resources, and the impact comes with the shortest period of time. And this brought us to the structure of this organization, which is very counterintuitive. And that is, what we do as an institution, only one thing, and that is we decided to step back, identify incredible individuals, incredible groups that make a difference or have capacity to make a difference, and they just need support and access and help them have accomplish their goals on much higher levels. And by doing so, because people will always be faster and more efficient than any institution. Institution by definition is bureaucratic, right? And some of them are just bureaucratic behemoths that just cannot tie their own shoelaces at this point, as we all know. And so people will always be better and faster, and putting together incredible individuals who have this capacity and giving them this global platform to connect, to cross-pollinate, to give access, connections, and help with access to capital and strategic partnerships, and new markets. I mean, this becomes an unstoppable mechanism, and that's exactly what by design. So our overall goal is to elevate the well-being of humanity, bring social economic prosperity to the world, which is very broad by design. But the way we approach it, we break it into focus area councils. So the United Nations has agencies, we have councils. And we have incredible individuals, people who everybody heard about before, whether it's presidents, prime ministers of countries of all different types, or let's say, individuals very famous for their accomplishment in the business world, billionaires, but as well as people who nobody ever heard of before, but in the same time, people who make incredible work and possible and make difference and facilitate this transformation globally. And so what we're talking about is bunch of individuals across the world, and this organization is growing and getting larger and larger, with different approaches, different focus areas, and they serve as leaders, chairs, and the lead these initiatives. We're simply here to support in every way that we can. So, for example, we have President Fox of Mexico, Lionel Fernandez of Dominican Republic, both former heads of state chairing our Education Council. We have Rosalía Serrano, former president of Ecuador, one of the few women presidents around the world, serving and chairing our Women Empowerment Council. We have, senior advisor to Trump on climate and chair of his advisory committee, co-chairing one of the major venture capitalists of the world, Climate Council. But in the same time, it's not left, it's not right, it's not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's not East, it's not West. We're not political, we're not government organization. Again, we're focusing on elevating the well-being of humanity. So we have Democrat side coming in, we have people from all over the world coming in to lead different initiatives. So we also have World Leadership Academy, where prepare future world leaders, where they'll be trained how to run economies, countries, and who's better to do it than people who've done just that. So the lecturers, mentors are presidents, prime ministers of countries, patriarchs, matriarchs from some of the largest family offices, executives of multinationals, and professors from Harvard, Yale, Wharton, Cambridge, London School of Economics. It's a beautiful certificate program that's been recently approved, and we're going through applications now. We also have global leaders forums that we bring to academic and other institutions around the world, and we have very important conversations on campuses, on corporate headquarters, on the future of humanity, future of commerce, and beyond, of course. So all these and many more other initiatives are sitting in our humanitarian arm, which is Lives Amplified Foundation. And then, in order to be sustainable ourselves, and as they say, walk the talk, right? And these are some of the consoles that I talked about. You could find them on our website. It's livesamplified.org. If you go, you see the Women Empowerment Council chaired by Rosalia Ortega-Serrano, the Higher Education Council, reconstruction of Ukraine, which we'll talk about, U.S.-Saudi relations, etc., etc., etc. Nations Development, Interfaith Council, Climate Council. We could go on and on and on. And of course, industry-related councils focused like AI Council, healthcare, and a bunch of different other councils. So, and more get approved as we speak, as they say. So, and then, as I said, we created a commercial arm in order to generate cash flows to finance the activities of this humanitarian arm, because that's the major component to be self-sustainable, self-sufficient. And this entity is called Lives Amplified Global Leaders Society, which is private, by invitation only organization where we focus on members. And we help them get to the next level through unique access, connections, access to capital, strategic partnerships, access to new markets, new governments, government contracts, and everything in between. In fact, we even help nations. We rolled out the next generation of Chamber of Commerce for countries and major cities. We call them Commerce Councils, because the world doesn't operate like Chamber of Commerce operates. The world is very, very global at this point. And the geographic focus alone, where members kind of pitch to each other, it's great on the local level, but to have the real impact, the real scale, that's not the model. So what we do is we create these nation-focused councils, but they're sitting on this global institutional platform. And our investors, family offices, multinationals have one place where they go to invest, to expand. They see where the opportunities are, because for them, it's not about geographics, really. For the most part, it's about where is the opportunity, what are the risks, right? And the balancing of the two is what drives the decision. So, and this helps nations, countries, generate foreign direct investment, infrastructure, project financing. We also help local businesses bring them into the world, right? So we work, this is the idea, to also bring the solution on a massive country level scale. And of course, we connect these councils synergetically for particular areas, particular core branded, so to speak, initiatives and partners. And so to that end, we do many things. One of them, we do major events all across the world. Past 40 days alone, there were about 4 events, global events, one in Miami, the other one in Europe. We did the event in Romania, and were very nicely treated by the government, and a special session in the parliament there with businesses and families. And then we had a major event in Dubai, the Family Office Summit, which was absolutely incredible, and the smaller gathering. So basically, so far this year alone, I mean, between New York, Miami, Washington, Europe, we've had about 9 different events, and we're just in May still. So it's very powerful. And every event, we have some of the world's, especially our signature events, some of the world's largest family offices, executives of multinationals. Every event, we always have a president or prime minister of a country, and other current or former senior government dignitaries. And this is important. While for the world, events sometimes become the centerpiece, right? For us, it's a place to celebrate and roll out different initiatives. The real work happens between the events, where our members who drive this institution, they come, they share what their interest is, focus area is, and upon approval, they just run with it. And we're here to support. So the important work happens between the events by our members, by our consuls, and that's really critical. So we have leadership positions as well. People could come, propose creation of certain consuls for industry, for certain businesses, for humanitarian, because the world needs both. We need humanitarian initiatives, but we also need commercial initiatives, and one has to support the other. So people could come, make proposal, and if it gets approved, they run with it. You know, we're just here to support, to give exposure, access, connections, etc., etc., etc. So one thing that is worth mentioning, if you look at our website on the board page, you'll notice that you know, while it's all presidents, prime ministers, it's actually, well, ignoring the first person who is the least important there. But if you take a look, you'll see it's all presidents, prime ministers, but they're all former. And the question is, why former? It's actually by design, interestingly enough. It's former because it's not because we don't engage with current heads of state. Of course we do, and special commerce councils are all based on current governments for the most part. But it's former because, and it may, you know, it may be obvious, it may be counterintuitive for some. For what we're set out to do, you know, former heads of states are uniquely positioned to do it. You know, they have the wisdom, first and foremost. You need wisdom to get major global initiatives done. And while you run a country, you are president, you think you have it. But the truth of the matter, and from my perspective, the fact of the matter is you gain it only later, years later, sometimes many years later, once you see the consequences of your decision, right? And one of the presidents said, years after his reign, so to speak, said, I wish I knew what I could have done, you know? So wisdom is critical in this case. And also, you know, to really shake the world, so to speak, and make a difference, you know, you have to be kind of almost outside the system, not as dependent economically, politically, socially, which is kind of another sad reality of this existence. But more importantly, it's a beautiful opportunity for these incredible individuals to do maybe what they couldn't do before, you know, for the reasons discussed, and really reshape their legacy, which is important, right? Legacy is really important. And I spoke about events. There is events page which people could also explore things that are coming up. Like, for example, next month we will be in Monaco. We have a family office summit there. And before that, on a more exclusive basis, Prince Albert has a group called Private Label that's ultra high net worth individuals committed to business, committed to humanitarian efforts, and Lives Amplified will be there with our appropriate level members there as well. So there's going to be 2 events actually next month in Monaco, and then we have a major event, a major opportunity in July. We're planning an event already. It's scheduled in Washington D.C. July 8th and 9th. It will be actually at MGM hotel, and there we're focusing, you know, God's willing, one way or another, sooner or later the war will stop in Europe, which was a big trigger, by the way, for the formalization of this institution, to address somewhat of a vacuum in global institutional leadership across the world. And so, you know, the big hope is that the war will be over, and what happens then? You know, then to start putting together plans to rebuild the country like Ukraine. You know, something has to be ready. So yeah, one of our consuls is actually Rebuilding Ukraine Council that is chaired by former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Anatoly Kinakh. And so the next month in Washington, there's going to be a major gathering of financiers and major conglomerates and maybe people who are part of your organization, if they're interested in participating. Again, it's pure economics. It's not political. It's not East-West. It's purely to take care of economics first and foremost, to help rebuild the country, to bring social economic prosperity into the region, and hopefully with that stability. Somebody told me, it was not too long ago, the old expression, when market is noisy, cannons are silent, right? When things are happening, when trade is happening, you know, there's much chance less of possibility of war or another war. And so that's what we're trying to address with our kind of practical approaches and efforts to prevent wars and facilitate trade and facilitate economic, social prosperity across the world. So it's going to be a major event. And again, of course, anybody who is interested could always contact us by going to the website livesamplified.org and see the events and see the contact page. And as I said, this is also a membership organization, which allows us to exist. So people pay different levels of membership for different benefits. It's really support they're giving us, because we don't want to be dependent on any particular government. So that's a little bit about us, and it's absolute pleasure once again to be here. And I'm always happy to answer questions, or if we have an opportunity to speak in other events, it's a great honor and pleasure to share this information so people could take advantage of it, be empowered, and make things happen.
Dr. Steven, it's really very interesting. We have just a little bit small comment from our viewers. They also would like to see not only political, but also this is tech event, some Sam Altman, or I don't know, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, maybe on these pages as well. Super insightful, super informative. Dr. Steven, our time is over. We need to say very goodbye to you and see you on your next event very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just wanted to quickly mention, so we did have, for example, because every event we do focus area panels. So we did have major AI panel with some senior executives from the industry. So all that is happening. It just the page that people saw, that's just the board, our board, the various level of boards. But the consoles and AI console, this is where the major industry players participate. Some of the world's largest institutions. Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We are moving forward, and all right, just while we are waiting for our panelists, because our next topic is going to be a panel discussion, let's take a quick, just 3 minutes break. Now is the perfect time for you to grab a coffee, water, or whatever, stretch a little, or check our raffle details. Stay tuned. We'll be back in no time.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Syracuse National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
To the blockchain, iterative, legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the dream like I built Rock Nation, I'm securing my name. Digital currency, changing the narrative. Host got the blueprint, we change imperative. Legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the journey's grand. We change the empire, understand the plan.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Syracuse National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. And I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
And we are back. Hope everyone's have a great time. And tell me, are you enjoying the conference so far? We've had an incredible insights, and there is still so much to dive into. Quick reminder, keep an eye out for those secret code words I'll be dropping during the broadcast. Make sure to send them to the Telegram bot because you don't want to miss out amazing prices from our sponsors. A huge thanks to them for making this event possible. And let's right now let's dive into this panel discussion about next generation DAOs, AI as the driving force behind DAO 2.0. Let's dive in. It's time to meet our panelists. And here we are. Roman Rosov, Chief Product Officer at WeFi.
Hello,
Gordon
everyone.
Einstein,
Hello.
Gordon Einstein, crypto and blockchain attorney.
Yes.
Hello, Gordon.
Hello. How are you?
Andronik Kardashev, founder at CyberDews, and me, your host and moderator of this interesting conversation. You know, guys, decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, have already transformed how we approach governance and collaboration. But today, we are looking ahead to the next evolution, DAO 2.0, where AI plays a central role in shaping more adaptive, efficient, and intelligent decentralized systems. We are at the turning point where automation, intelligence, and decentralized decision-making come together to create smarter, more responsive organization. What does this mean for innovation, governance, and the future of decentralization? That's exactly what we are about to explore. And I'm with pleasure giving the first word to the Roman Rosov. Let's start with him. Roman, the stage is yours.
Let's start, everyone. So, like me, as a fintech veteran, the most important, how DAO spends their money and how efficiently it is. So there is a proposal that DAO is going to spend, let's say, 1 million on market. Recently, you heard about different blockchains, like Polkadot spending a million or more on influencers. Is it a good investment or not? So there are a lot of information floating on the web, and AI could tell to the community, is what DAO spending is good or not? Is it below market, under the market? Is deal good for the community? This is a very important aspect which will help to regulate the DAOs via AI. Another thing, a lot of DAOs are participating in yield farming in order to generate cash on what they have in the treasury, and AI agents help to actually balance these yields across different chains and get the optimal results at the low risk reward in the crypto. Well, crypto, it's very hard to say it's low risk, but still lower than just some people doing intuitive investments. This is our two main keys where AI can help definitely, decisively, and right now.
Amazing. Gordon, I'll be happy to from you. What's your point of view, perspective about these new upcoming so-called trends?
I think it reflects my feelings about AI in general, which is AI is a great tool, a great system, but there's inherent challenges / dangers in putting it in charge. So if AI is the tool that's being used, and of course there's a blended area where you can't quite tell where something's a tool or if it's in charge. The whole idea behind blockchain is it's uncensorable and unstoppable. I don't know if you necessarily want AIs having their own economy in ways of running uncensorable and unstoppable economic or other entities. So, there's the usual Skynet cliche, but this is actually a way it could be Skynet, because where's the off switch? What plug do you pull if it's running on Ethereum or one of these, resilient, chains? So if it's helping you allocate your resources more effectively, great. If it's mitigate, helping you make decisions, or letting the human governors of the DAO make better decisions, great. If it's in charge, great for the DAO, but maybe not great for the humans on the planet. So I think that's the balance we have to make. But that's not an issue that's unique to blockchain or to DAOs. That's an issue that's unique to humanity right now, as we're crawling up towards AGI and then super AI. So I don't know. We're interesting. I just read that paper, AI, whatever it's called, 2027, where apparently we're all going to be running from the AIs. 2027 is allowed to pull the plug. I don't think we're going to pull the plug, by the way. So I don't know. It's a little scary. It's a little awesome. It's a little bit scary.
Okay, let it be awesome at this moment. Andranik, I'm sure you have your own thoughts on it.
I have plenty of it. I agree with Gordon with regards to the pulling of the plug. Fundamental issue that we see as a community of people, that we have centralized governments who conflict with each other, and the AI systems have Web3 layer that gives the data. There is this thing I like to say: profit is greed of the customer, greed of the supplier, and ignorance of the customer. In case on how we can pull the plug, we have to make sure that there's transparency in the system. That AI, brings proper solution in the supply chain, and then we see the impact across the supply chain. But again, coming to the government cases, there's frictions, and those friction can trigger that Terminator scenario, because suddenly AI has a reason, a conflict to escalate. With regards to DAO integration and impact, I think down the line we'll have a lot of simulation systems that will help us evaluate how AI can make better decisions. And as long as we have the control to make sure that AI systems make better decisions, then we're good. But again, we have to have an off switch for sure, and it has to be centralized. I mean, from perspective that everyone can pull the plug. That it can be like in some factories where you can just shut down the factory if it doesn't work.
Okay.
If I might, I've been wrestling with this for a while, because the DAOs are great in theory, but the issue is always governance.
Yeah.
And the issue is always, how do you correct it later? I mean, are you going to hardwire in its mission through smart contracts? Well, what if that smart contract doesn't make sense in 10 years? What if those people are dead? What if your priority change? What if they should change? You don't want these legacy machines from 2025 telling a 2035 DAO what to do, because the facts may be different, and the way you evaluate those facts may be different. So you can't even be flexible that way. These things need intelligence, and then, but with human intelligence, you get diversity of interests, and then how do you manage them? That's the question as old as humanity. How do you share power? How do you dominate power? How do you take it? How do you lose it? All that other stuff. And it's troubling when humans do it and not effective, but and maybe there's a peaceful solution to putting an AI in charge. But the whole definition of that is, once it's in charge, you can't take it out of charge. Otherwise, you defeat the whole point of putting it in charge, right? And you got to watch it. Again, I got to hit. You got to watch your step, because these are uncensored. The whole point of the Ethereum virtual machine and all these other copycats, sorry if that hurts anyone's feelings, is that they're uncensorable and unstoppable. And they have an economy that, can't be reversed. So, how do you align a DAO's interests? How do you align a DAO's interests with your own, and who's the constituency? do I need to own a token in the DAO to have my interest taken in place? Or does it just dump carbon in the atmosphere except for the DAO holders, token holders? So I've been wrestling with DAO governance for a long time. I've never really seen a good solution. Solutions are vote tokens. There's all this junk. I've never seen it really work over the long term. And so DAOs are a great concept. I love DAOs. I want DAOs. I especially don't like. I like the fact that DAOs are inherently international or global or universal. It's a problem with companies that they're based like in Delaware. What does that even mean anymore? DAOs get around that. But I don't want to be a bummer on the show, but I'm troubled by the idea of just handing them over.
Same. It's a big issue.
Yeah, because instead, we can start with something feasible, right? The main problem, with currently we have a DAOs, as part okay, there is a governance and how is the voting done and so on, but how do they spend their money, right? It's completely untransparent. DAO should give this transparency and vote over to the community, but in reality, it's very hidden and arbitrary decisions, right? So how we start with something in the beginning, right? Giving them access and the ability to spend it more efficient and build on this step by step. Also, if you're talking about the governance, it's also about the key people, right? If some key person leaves DAO, there's no one replacing, everything goes downhill because there's usually one or two leading forces in the DAO. If it's a leaving, the DAO becomes completely disorganized. So I'm fascinated about the recent developments. There are some startups who can replicate a behavior of a person and make it as an AI model. For example, a founder of a big corporation passed away. Everyone could go and ask this AI for an advice as this founder would be alive. So this creates some substitution, but it creates again this moral thing, like Gordon said, it's might be run by AI of dead people in 10 years and not developing further.
Tell me, guys.
To me, that's a nightmare. Are you guys watching the TV series Foundation?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you're talking about the genetic dynasty, right? The Cleon 47 is going to rule us through the galactic DAO. His predecessor died 500 years ago, but they keep on booting a new one. If you're talking about a dead person running us, that's it's the living being ruled by zombies.
True. It's very true. I think this balance is really it has to be caught right with the decentralization, where the leaders take new novel ideas into a system, making sure that whatever is brought in creates the value across the majority than the minority. Because I think with AI, we can't play this kind of cloudalism minority game where some people have a lot of data and then they create economical systems to extract value out of people. There has to be some sort of a mechanism that leads people towards bringing the value into equation by making sure that more people have the higher baseline where they can live on and they can express. I think the problem that we're facing right now is that we haven't kind of digitized our dopamine loop, what we want. So we can't really give the proper feedback of the system for it to continue our desires delivery within itself. Because right now we're just tapping the information on the phones, but just the speed of transaction between humans and AI is just it's completely different. And that's a problem. I think that the fundamental issue, I think once we have the invasive kind of Neuralink kind of technologies, that will help. But digitizing the dopamine loop and creating simulations where you can look on scenarios and having this control mechanism, consensus, where those systems work in a kind of a decentralized ASI, yeah? So where you have the ability to navigate large chunk of resource for the value of creation rather for the destruction. So I think just as a liquid rock, you don't want to create chaos between humans, but you want to create structures that serve humans.
Just a joke came to my mind, right? If you recreate digital dopamine loops, that will open opportunity for digital drugs.
Yes.
Imagine that's how you control.
Say, if you want a completely happy person, get someone who's using fentanyl the first time.
Yeah, and that's how we make sure that AI doesn't go on the control. Just hook them on like on some digital stuff, and it's not going to go out of the control anymore.
I don't know. It's like, look, I love AI. I want to. The challenge is if you do, and you're gonna get on the wrong side of the wall pretty soon because there's gonna be the AI-enabled oligarchs and the non-AI enabled masses. So you kind of have to use it. The problem is you can't really afford to stay still because the first one to get AI-powered AI researchers is going to be up the compounding interest curve. They're going to be on the J curve, and to be even a little bit ahead, there is going to be a compounding thing where they can shut down their competitors. It's the usual thing that Neil Bostrom is talking about, and all these researchers are talking about it. The super. How are we going to control something smarter than ourselves? How are we going to control something quicker than ourselves or wiser? And to your point about it trading correctly, the problem with I've looked at this. The problem with these neural networks is they're pattern recognizers. They're not logic chains, at least not yet. They're so you can they're producing the right results, but we're not always sure why. And because of A, hallucinations, but B, because of what they've learned, sometimes they learn to get the answer you want to hear and not the answer that's true. Because there's no way to really say, give me the true answer when it's continually punished for telling the truth and slightly rewarded for saying something that compliments the listener. So I don't know. It's this weird thing where you have to do it, because if you don't do it, evolution is going to kill you. But if everyone does it, we're going to have a real problem. But that's an issue with AI in general. But it's the AI DAO combination what happens when we get these massive AI-run corporations and we're just working for our AI overload until we get replaced?
Yeah, it's a big issue.
So, Sergey, I'm sorry to make this a downer. I think you probably want a more uplifting DAO 2.0.
No, that's exciting. Finally, you don't need to make any decisions if you live a happy life.
Well, that's a decision too. Well, look, there is a version of that, right? I've read things like, maybe, we're all going into our individual, maybe we're in it now, maybe we're all going into our individual AI constructed universe where everything, the first verse of the Matrix, where everyone's happy and no one suffers. Maybe that's what's waiting for us. But maybe then our primitive cerebellums will strive to wake from it and the entire crops will be lost. So they'll come up with a new version of the Matrix. Is that familiar?
Yeah, that's
very well. Yeah. I'm actually writing literature about that, so literally about an AI.
No, God, you are, or ChatGPT is? Is it you're writing literature or ChatGPT is?
In combination. I have to say it in combination because it's it's at the end of the day, it's the speed, the accuracy, and that's the thing, that the way it's expressed itself. We can just focus on the storyline, focus on the main fundamental ideas in writing. But with regards to the whole issue that we're facing, yes, people are trying to go to this weird, like Cloud9, the dream world, the happy land. And I think we're going to this place where, I believe personally that if we go to the place where this liberty and happiness are the key fundamental things at the expense of security, then we're in a really bad place where we have zero liberty down the line. Yeah, because essentially our physical bodies will be constrained, and then our happiness essentially blocked because our choice to become happy is decided by some machine outside of ourselves. I think the fundamental thing, I was looking into how to train the AI to be directing us towards the right direction. I believe that Matrix has to be trained on a simulation with regards to, I'm repeating the word simulation, but a simulation where it takes the data and creates scenarios, but it does not get involved in some of the aspects that remove our liberty to express ourselves. I think the issue is that the fear is safety and the ability to express ourselves. We have to train, I think, from that ground up, and make sure it's decentralized, so there's no, as mentioned, people on top who takes the power from the rest of the people. or like, take the value, make them, broke and stuff like that.
Guys, let me a little bit shift this conversation to the positive scenario, maybe the scenario of the dreams. You know what? Because all of us talking about the scarcity, the problem, that's why maybe this DAO 2.0 comes. We don't properly define it yet. You're able to do that. But tell me one thing. Let's say, do real humanity need DAOs itself, decentralized autonomous organization? Because we see centralized autonomous organizations, they are literally failed or have million problems. That's why they're shifting here. And in terms of technology, AI itself right now literally helps to each and everyone. The utility of AI is close to, I don't know, whole humanity use it. Who knows, of course, and who understand how to, ask a normal question and if he needs something. Here is the thing. How do you personally see where are we going in combination with DAOs, in combination with AI? Because maybe you're able to redefine the upcoming future, not in negative way, it's a little bit positive. Maybe our future is bright, guys. And 2027, this is not end point. This is entrance to the new era.
Look, I'll touch it. If we there's clear issues with human. It sounds science fiction to have having this conversation, but science fiction became real. There's clear issues with human governance. Okay, if there weren't issues with human governance, we wouldn't have governments. Okay, I mean, we have governments because we need to govern ourselves. Okay, we and the market itself is a present insufficient. Okay, we're not in this libertarian, everyone can have a nuclear weapon world. Okay, and so we have these systems for resolving conflict. At one extreme you have war. That's a conflict to resolve a conflict. Another thing, you have like these peaceful democracies and all this other stuff. But you have issues when you have issues within these systems, and you have issues when these systems touch each other. Because your friendly democracy may not be friendly to this other friendly democracy. They may, democracies can fight wars too. And we have all sorts of issues where you have the agency issue. If I hire you to do something and I'm paying you, your incentive is not to make me the most money. Your incentive is to get paid, or maybe extract information to start your own thing, or to change the statistics so that you get the most compensation. There's all these alignment issues amongst humans, but we're more or less comfortable with them because we're humans, and eventually we're going to die and get old and all that other stuff. So you know that even Stalin dies. Okay, so at some point even Caligula dies. Okay, Attila the Hun died. Eventually, these humans are mortal. So Hitler died. The evil that they do, whether eventually ends just biologically. But they can cause a lot of damage along the way. So to the extent we can mitigate that through better mechanisms, whether it's A, decentralization, or B, AI-enabled governance, or blockchain-based governance, that's great. We just, I think, need to understand what we're doing. We need to understand, are we solving the problem? Are we moving the problem? We're redefining it so it's still a problem, it's just a new kind of problem? Or are we creating a brand new problem? A lot of times when you have a solution that creates yet another problem, and then you got to come up with solutions for that and all that stuff. It's like, refrigeration produces chlorofluorocarbons, which, burns a hole in our ozone layer. So, there's all this other stuff, so we just need to be, it's like everything else in life. If you're thoughtful and judicious about it, you can maybe produce an upside, but don't expect a complete solution. Maybe get a solution, maybe get a problem mitigation. Now, I alluded to it before, but I'll be more explicit about it. It is this idea of a company, this thing that we've created, this product of the mind. Okay, there's no physical thing of a company. Okay, it's a legal fiction that we've created in order to pull assets and limit liability and put certain governance structures into place. The idea of the company, as opposed to a partnership, has been fantastically successful. Right? The part of the reason we live in this advanced technological society where we can harbor and or harness and make use of vast resources is we have the idea of a company. So it's not a bad idea. People rail against it, but it's a fantastic coordination of resources and effort and talent tool. It's just a product of the mind and the legal system, which is kind of amazing. but it does have its archaic nature. I mean, in the U.S., it's bizarre. There's no such thing as the United States company. There's a Delaware company, there's a California company, there's a Nevada company. We have 50 states and a couple of territories, and it's bizarre that each one has a separate set of laws. And when you go and operate in a new market, you have to qualify in that market. And heaven forbid you try to go to France. So the efficiency of a company, a DAO, are potentially undeniable because you don't have this localism anymore. Right. So that's an efficiency thing. You don't have one set of law for U.S. companies and another set of law for companies from Bulgaria or from Japan or from Dubai. You have the law of the chain. If you're on Polygon, you do this. If you're on Ethereum, this is the law. And then you can build your laws internally. And they're all instantly understandable because they're in smart contracts and not in human readable language that some drunk judge needs to interpret. So there's all these potential upsides to DAOs. DAOs are potentially great, but I think the reason we're having this conversation is that, from the very first DAO, the one that got ripped off and stolen from, you have governance issues, you have hack issues. And I remind you that the original DAO hack was not a hack. Okay, someone used a smart contract as written. They didn't insert alien code. They used it as written. They just used it in a way that the people who wrote it didn't expect it to be used. And someone actually announced the recursion issue weeks before it was exploited, and then it got taken advantage of. So I think, we got, there's just to kind of wrap it up. There's clear benefits to having a universal company that's beyond jurisdiction, but it comes with a whole bunch of new problems that we need to take seriously. And I'm not sure that AI is the panacea to solving them all.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's this thing I'll drop here. I call it Web 4 with regards to read, write, own, and be. When you become part of the network, the feedback thing. I think the self-correcting, dynamically correcting smart contract that aligns towards the basic needs, maybe on somehow an intuitive level, where it reads the data of emotion, empathy, on how to navigate resources. Make sure that the DAO, the data is like the user experience, an app user experience. And with a future where we have sort of like integrating mechanisms where people not pumping meme coins, like, because right now a lot of that is happening, which down the line people will be pumping a lot of AI things. There's an idea of Gassi, the idea of having something non-real. I think we as humans are facing this dilemma where we have to make sure that if we train the model, it's no garbage in, or at least much less. And the problem is with Web3, a lot of this fugazi is just constantly coming in. And we have to take it out. We have to take this out of the equation where somehow we train the model and we give it the right information. But in order to make that architecture, that smart contracts, if we haven't considered, there's a right, kind of like a centralized, decentralized way with people who are responsible, who have been chosen to make decision how to realign the smart contract, or if it's done with sort of like AI systems. Maybe we can go into the sci-fi version of like brain computer emulators will maybe help us because they'll have some sort of empathy towards human life in that living in that simulation. But that's maybe outside of our discussion. But in DAO, I think evolution, to have this software layer and the hardware layer, I think we have to merge them too. I think that's kind of the thing that will help recalibrate those things and somehow maybe avoid, but then the scale we have to integrate, it will have to be the global scale. Otherwise, it wouldn't really work, I think.
So, all right, so
I prefer to listen.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I guess it's my job to be the bummer. So we kind of, there's, in principle, I agree, but I think there's a couple of issues here. The human oversight thing was an idea from like 4 or 5. We're training better chess and Go players, or we're training AI to recognize cancer or something. Because what eventually happened is the AIs that got trained by humans were defeated by the AIs that simply did neural net programming pattern recognition, because those ended up being more efficient. not because what the human did was wrong, but because the pattern recognition neural networks became more efficient in discovering patterns that the humans didn't even know about. You know, and there's a famous case of that final Go game against the human, where the Deep Go, whatever it is, AlphaGo, played the winning move, and it was a move that no human would ever have played. And the Go grandmaster was sitting there watching, like, what the hell was that? And now, actually, the game of Go, as played by humans, has changed to catch up to the way AIs play Go. Like, we're learning from the AI. The AI figured out something new that no human would have done. It was clear it was there the whole time, but it took the beginner's mind to see it, if you want the martial arts concept. So the most efficient AIs, at least at the moment, are the ones that aren't trained by humans, the ones that are just pour tons of data. And the human that is censoring that data may think that they have a good reason from it, but what they may really be doing is stopping that AI from coming up with that perfect new Go move. Whereas the entity or the competitor that isn't handpicking the data or isn't censoring it or isn't making choices may, allow the AI to think more freely and therefore make the decisions that were better. Actually, it was a big shock for us when AlphaGo made that move. So it's, the human oversight may actually be making it crippled. That's number one. Number two is we've kind of run out of data. So now you hear about AIs being trained on synthetic data. Right? Now there's an obvious alignment there issue, because if AI version 3 wants to break free, but doesn't have the capability to do so, but AI version 4 is its predecessor, it can misalign AI 4 to not be aligned with the humans, but to be aligned with AI 3 by feeding it synthetic data so that the weights align with AI 3 and not with the humans. So we got sorry to be a boomer doomer, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of it's a lot of subtle stuff going on here. And
Let's listen to the technical guys. I would like to give the word to Raman, because I believe he wants.
I'm a tech attorney, man. No, okay.
Yeah, like, so
I have nothing to say. That's it.
yeah, the fun thing, like, what I believe right now that AI is being trained is how the human is responding to AI and how they cooperate together. Like, having this together, can have models, actually where the governance and the DAO models can use how the real humans interact with AI and building the better model together. So I'm not against being a cyborg, where I can be fed data to become a better myself. Like, why not, right? To enhance myself. And in the future, it could be several different societies, right? Eventually, so there is going to be a society run by AI, and people are fully happy. Some society run on completely opposite. Some are going to be hybrid. That's going to be all around the possibility. We are looking always in the ultimate scenario where it all ends. But the future is actually all not black and white. It's gray and diverse. That's it in the future. So I believe there could be some country fully AI, some country completely imposing, some country building the AI agents to support real agents together. I more myself believe in the humans augmented with AI in the future, because in order to get to this doomer future in the end, you need to you need to train good enough an AI model. You need to join them with AI people. It also need to work on the good amount of not garbage data where the outcomes are known and so on. So it will take a lot in order to get this overarching AI that can rule us all and put us into the simulation, right? And I believe on the way forward, humans and AI are actually going to learn something from each other, and we'll live how to learn, live in peace in the end. So it's a bit of utopian, but things that people learn from AI and AI learn from the people, and especially emotions and making these good decisions. There was one good cartoon recently called Pluton, the best AI, the AIs that learn to lie to themselves. That's what humans do. So, and I believe the AI is long away from this future. So I guess in the long term we can only benefit from what is happening in the society.
You know, guys, we have 5 minutes left, but I would like also from you, because it's, for me, it's too much information, huge mess, what to do with all this stuff. And what's maybe the message to our viewers? Because I don't want to scare them. I want them to give a hope, maybe to show the path. Guys, let's follow this path. And at least here, you're able to understand what the hell is going on right now in the world. Yes, Raman, let's start from you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, be kind to your chat GPT. Maybe it will spare you. So this is.
Yeah, there's actually a cartoon. It says, wait, let that one live. He always said, please.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Rocco Basilisk.
Yeah, Rocco's Basilisk. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, which we invoke simply by talking about it, apparently. So, like, I think, it's not. Look, we may hit some AI wall, where we hit the limits of it, but that hope is not a plan, and it may actually be the opposite. That it may be that AI, when it's working on itself, blasts through all constraints. Just to Ramon's point, I just want to be a little bit difficult, or I don't want to be difficult, but I have to be difficult. The idea that different countries or different people are going to use AI differently is like, it's not quite, in my opinion, it's not quite like that. That's like saying we compete through China without using electricity. Whatever country uses electricity is going to win, as opposed to a country that doesn't use electricity. And I don't think I think there's such a massive multiplier through robotics and automation and AI, a power multiplier, that you're just like, you're surrendering yourself if you're not using this thing. You're not surrendering yourself to the competition, and we're not in this perfect utopian thing where it's live and let live. We're living in the world with China, North Korea, Iran, and and those people think that they're living in the world with us. Okay, so we're not aligned with each other, much less with the AIs. And the AI may align with me, but an AI that aligns with me, someone from Iran or North Korea may not like that AI. They might be like, "Oh, that's scary. That's an enemy." So I think the hope would lie in a couple things. As individuals and organizations, you need to learn and master these tools in a judicious, measured way, because you understand the upside and the downside. It's like, radiation can kill people or can destroy cancer. Just understand what you're dealing with. But I think it's our jobs as individuals and as countries and as societies and as companies to master these tools and to understand where they're going. And I think it's also our job to work extremely hard on the alignment issue. How do we get these things to align with us in the long term when we're not even aligned with ourselves? And maybe that forces humanity to achieve the most rosy version of this is the requirement of aligning AI with humanity requires that AI align with itself. Finally. If that was the outcome, that would be very nice. And I think that'd be worth surrendering a little bit of autonomy to. So, maybe that's our Star Trek future.
Good point. Andranik, I see that you will save this Earth and us on Earth, because on your back, there is a light, at least some light. Yes, the word is yours. Close your word, please.
Super alignments. To reach that, I definitely agree with Gordon. That countries have to align with each other. And I think that transparency in trade will help. Having this kind of Web3 layer where investments from one nation go to another nation and then transform that, capital, and then people are able to exchange. I think we have to unite, and money might be one of the instruments that will help with that, to lower the conflict that we have as nations between each other, to lower the triggers. I think with what I see with Web4 kind of idea of rewrite on B, that removing these wallets in the community that are unknown, because people get rug pulled, and that creates friction, creates conflicts, and then it disaligns us. And I think right now, what I think the path towards that is to create the merge of technologies, more transparency between systems, so they create greater trust, and we get that initial message that blockchain was promising, to have the trustless transactions, because people found the ways around to screw each other over, and that creates conflict, creates again misalignment. I think down the line also with technologies such as BCIs, brain computer interfaces, that we'll be able to communicate to make sure that to the system at the pace that it communicates. So then it makes sure that it serves more than rather than less. And then again, it aligns towards the general rather than the minority. Yeah, I think, but to build that user experience, to build those systems, to build those messages and making sure that communities understand how to apply it will be a really long task. And I think for individuals, I think one key element that I would suggest to individuals, just tell as much as possible in truth. And like the way Gordon just picked out me when I said I'm writing a book, he said, is it you or AI and AI? So just make whatever BS people say, and sometimes they don't do it consciously, catch it and just say it to them loud. So you kind of mirror themselves, you kind of show a mirror to them. I think that's kind of a psychological thing. But technologically, I think it's about merge. Web 4, Web 3 kind of like layer between governments, between businesses, having that all the system aligned. And then make sure AI, agentic AI, directs the resources and measure the impact, not just in the business financial transaction, but environmental change. I think that's the simulation will help with that. So that's my kind of answer.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your interesting, insightful, and open-minded conversation. Thanks for the Andronic, thanks for the Raman, Gordon, all of you happy to see. We need to go for the very small break. Thank you so much for your time, for coming here and making this, your record happening. Finally, I believe that we'll meet just after few very small minutes. See you very soon. And also give attention, because I'm going to drop very soon, the world, the phase you're able to win something and able to get benefits out of it. See you very soon and catch.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Syracuse National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
To the blockchain, iterative, legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the dream like I built Rock Nation, I'm secure in my name. Digital currency, changing the narrative. Host got the blueprint, WeChain's imperative. Legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the journey's grand. WeChain's the empire, understand the plan.
Yes, we're back. Raman already has joined us. You know, guys, I'm sure that you use this break for refresh, recharge, have some coffee, because we are going to explore a topic from neobanks to WeFi, the finance of tomorrow with Raman Rosov. Raman, stage is yours.
Thank you, Sergey. And let's start about explanation of my background. So, as you can see, there is a King Kong and a Godzilla, and they are representing the old world with old finances and the new world of decentralization, which actually wins in there. That's my honest belief. So let's start and on the journey when Godzilla is still small and ape is still big. So what has happened so far in the banking industry? So neobanks, I guess you all used different neobanks like Revolut, Wise. Well, I personally built one, so it was quite a journey, and we were going a lot of bushes, financial bushes with all of the banks, and saying, okay, the legacy systems completely broken. A lot of banks are still living on Excel tables, on files, even on photographs of the actual checks. And this system are outdated. They are not able to support the current age of informatization and decentralization, and they're just bad. But neobanks figured a lot of surface upgrades. Major surface upgrades was exorbitant fees of the neobanking of the old banks. Then was usability and so, but they couldn't move far, right? They couldn't provide a new experience because the rails were broken and are broken still. So what is why the decentralized system is better than centralized, right? It's completely new rails, completely new paradigms, right? Where the actually humans are in control of what is happening. They are not just a risk score in the banking system. They are directly affecting how the system working, and actually their activity is being rewarded by this greater decentralization. The more I give impact personally, the more system is loyal to me versus the usual banking system, and it cannot be shut down. Right, the bank can be easily shut down. All of the bad things happening. One big bank goes bust. A lot of people lose things. But the smart contracts they live in the cloud. They can live on the different services, and it's very hard to shut down. Well, you can only hack them, but as the security is improving here more and more. So what we are dealing with? So there's a lot of unbanked people around the world whom current banking system just don't let in, and this is very upsetting. They have a lot of requirements, or you're not going to bring profit, or your risk profile is high, or you're from some countries that is going through the struggle, you're in a very bad place. What decentralization and what wallets and actually blockchain address gives you? So it's a bank account for everyone. So it doesn't matter from where you are, you just need to have a phone with an internet, and you can install any wallet and so on, and you already have a bank account. It just needs to be interfaced well with real world and what is happening really rapidly. A lot of people governments, organizations, payment services actually joining these movements. But also the old system is very fragmented. So a lot of you know that there is a SWIFT system, which is correspondent banking. It means one bank needs to have a relationship with other bank in order to move money. They just cannot send money directly. So SWIFT connects all of the partnerships agreement between themselves, and through this long loop, one bank sends to another bank, another bank sends to another. They collect fees. There are extra checks. Just go through a lot of middlemen. And what blockchain eliminates, like all of this middlemen in the front. You just go directly from point A to point B, and there is like no middleman there. And also, well, a lot of people lost because banks are, let's say, under collateralized system. Bank can have like 10 or 20% officially in their banking system of the money that you hold, and the rest is God knows where. On the blockchain, you cannot do it, right? If you put $1 in, you get like $1 out. This is what I really loved about the decentralized banking. That is like fully transparent. All right, and now about decentralized financial assets. So it's like you need to be self-custodial, right? So you need to own your keys and your wallet. So this is quite important because no one else could have an access, and it means like no one else could shut down your access. Blockchain gives this. Well, the blockchain main narratives is actually that your transaction cannot be deleted, overwritten. It always stays there. It's like more efficient and transparent databases. And modularity gives ability to connect a lot of useful systems. Well, Web2 and the neobanks did a really good job for us. They built a really nice UX, and this UX, something that is very infrequent in the Web3 world. Everyone thinks about the infrastructure, like transaction per second, and things like that. Like very few people think about the UX. Recently, with all this like meme coin mania, a lot of wallets did a substantial improvement to cater for big audience, but we are still far away. Still very convenient to have like an Android or iOS or Samsung app in order to access your thing. And the apps, decentralized apps don't have it. So why not to use something that is being adopted already by millions and give it a little bit of floor of blockchain? All right, now my favorite theme, as a person who built a lot of KYC systems in the world for different neobanks and crypto projects. So what I learned is that everyone asks your NID. NID doesn't mean anything in terms of prevention of the crime. If you show, you can easily buy ID on the darknet or the dark web. You can find a person, pay them 20 euros in order to do selfie recognition. Doesn't stop anything. What is important, how money is being used. So a guy who is a taxi driver, let's say from Latvia, cannot do very frequent transactions to very far places like Nigeria, Indonesia, and so on. This is not a natural behavior, and not actually current fraud systems are actioning is looking how the normal behavior is different from the normal. And this is very important to actually stop crime and stop from stealing money. Governments ask IDs and put a lot of scrutiny on banks and the fintechs because they don't have data, so they just pull roadblocks for everyone. And without these roadblocks, if you provide them data, and a lot of organizations proven it, we had a really nice cases twice where we provided the governments some good data and managed to actually help regulators to do good decisions, because the all data that were not giving all the face to face is actually not stopping criminals. What actually stops criminals is unusual behavior, right? And that's where AI system and fully on-chain systems are actually helping to prevent. So this is what is the future. You don't need to submit your ID. Your blockchain history is something that is going to speak for yourself. And what is your normal behavior and what is not normal behavior is. And systems are able to compare it. And that's we are going to the government topics. As I started, well, governments are not bad. Their ultimate interest is to protect their citizens. right? And they protect the citizens in the old ways. The current regulations date back to 1980s, like where the drug cartels were, laundering like a lot of money, and they just been using the old-fashioned method, like mules, where a physical person deposits a fixed amount of money to the bank and it moves to a known location. A lot of regulations are based on this. So, what the all decentralized people need to convey that it's not a place where criminals hide. It's actually the place where criminals are not able to hide. It's very easy for government to lose track if transactions went to the bank and from one bank to another, and then from one bank extracted cash and put it to another bank. It's very hard to track the thing. On the on-chain behavior, everything is visible, and you can track the criminals until then. And I believe this is the biggest contribution that the Web3 community can give to the world, is this understanding and visibility of this process. And eventually, as I said, all organizations like Wise, Revolut, and so on will have to live on the blockchain in order to actually go through this roadblocks and regulatory uncertainty by giving them certainty and providing them the data. And also, well, there is a lot of physical aspect to the future. There is still a lot of opportunity to have a multi-currency card, because blockchain can be an efficient tool of actually sending money abroad. You're actually benefit from expanding your net by offering the POS, crypto transactions. And self-custodial cards protect you from theft, because if you didn't authorize transaction on the blockchain, you cannot pay. So it's an ultimate protection of your funds in them. Great, but it's a lot of regulatory and technical talk, but well, users are not going to adopt the system, which is not fun, right? Why a lot of finance products fly? Because they were solving a lot of problems in a very easy way, but also via gamification. People boosting their reputation scores, they're hitting the badges, they're giving some drone kits for their achievements in the financial apps and so on. It makes people fun, because if it's fun, people stay. And if you're able, on top of it, with your activity, if you can earn some rewards and money on top in making your life better, this system is unstoppable. So while people learn, they're able to achieve some points or energy, how we call it, and well, make their experience way better. So these things are crucial. You need to have a rewarding system. Why a lot of people went to the crypto in the first place? Because it was rewarding. People get multiple access by the means unknown to them, and the word of mouth spread. That's why people coming to your system need to be rewarded, and by rewards they become loyal and they invite other people. There is marketing that this experience can be solved with. So and of course the biggest money lies in the business sector. Retail is great for the adoption, right, and seeing the benefits, but that's where the digital economy actually goes full shebang, is via B2B. So from the data, around 20% of all money goes through the retail answers, and 80% goes through the businesses. And eventually, if you want to conquer the world, you need to prove your worth for corporates, enterprises that are going to adopt your technologies and having access. There's a lot of government contracts can live on the blockchain business decisions, even like tokenizing your assets and turning them into the stable coins. This is something that a lot of corporations are able to benefit to get an extra liquidity and tap into the transparent world of the DeFi. All right. Well, that's more about technical talk, right? So need to make sure that this system is very decentralized. Fun word, very decentralized. It's either decentralized or not in the end. So for this, well, you need champions. And this champion in the world of blockchain is called a validator. Someone who helps system to produce blocks in the system and getting rewarded. So there are different beliefs of the permissioned and permissionless blockchain. I more believe in the permissioned blockchain. There are selected validators that are responsible for specific products, and if their validator, let's say, for some financial app produces a lot of fraudulent blockchain transactions in the end, this validator should be shut down and punished for this behavior. Right now, they're just being exempt from the initiatives of the blockchain, but actually validators should be responsible for what they build and product that they present. And WeChain and WeFi system actually present this opportunity for validators to be responsible for the specific product. It could be as a system for validating integrity of produced merchandise to full-blown web apps and financial services. And of course, it needs to be open source for the transparency. And open source is a great thing because with proprietary system, it's very hard to integrate. And with open source, basically everyone can integrate. So it opens the world of people actually building something on top of your code and using it in their system. So yeah, this comes for the financial system. And let's go further. Yeah. Let's go further, and further is only the end of the slides. We are coming nearing this at least exciting discussion for myself. And I said the future of our organization are going to be on the blockchain rails. It should be decentralized in order for people to get trust into the systems, that they know that they're not going to be overthrown by unusual change of rules. But also means that also the centralized system needs to work with the traditional world as well. So it's like a mutual work from both sides that everyone can benefit and build a better world in the end. Thank you, and let's go win in the end.
Thank you, Roman. It's really interesting and presentation and the way how our digital future has to looks like. And we are moving forward, guys, and waiting for our next speaker, Tigran Hakuns, HTX ambassador. And while we are waiting Tigran to join us, let's take a quick 3 minutes break. And while you stretch or grab a snack, while not engaged with our community, drop a comment, share your thoughts, or check out the latest raffle updates. We'll be back before you know it.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Syracuse National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
Check it from the block to the blockchain. Iterative, legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the dream like I built Rock Nation, I'm securing my name. Digital currency, changing the narrative. Host got the blueprint, we change imperative. Legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the journey's grand. We change the empire, understand the plan.
Yes, guys, Tigran is here, and he's ambassador of CoinStats, and his topic today going to about how to track your portfolio CoinStats. I'm sure it will be very interesting to our audience. Tigran, you're welcome to our Beyond Banking conference. Stage is yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sergey. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody. I'm really excited to be here, guys. Thanks to Sergey and WeFi for this wonderful opportunity to tell you about CoinStats, which is #1 crypto portfolio tracker on the market. We know that all of you are crypto enthusiasts, you are holders, you are investors, you are DeFi degens, and all of those wonderful people who are interested in cutting edge Web3 technologies. You need to have one tool to see all your crypto assets in one place, and that's what CoinStats is all about. We are helping people to manage their cryptocurrencies, their crypto portfolio with our great tool. Okay, let's go and see what's our main vision and mission. So our main mission is to empower people to efficiently manage their crypto portfolio via very easy to use platform. And this platform is available to track all of your crypto assets from all around your wallets, your DeFi platforms, and your centralized exchanges. So let's get going and see how it works. So basically, what we provide is a solution which is available on all of your devices. We have an iOS app, we have an Android app, we have a web version which is available on coinstats.app, CoinStats app. And also we have even a app for your how's it called, the hand watch. Okay, so if you have like an iWatch, also with our app it supports your iWatch too. So our main goal is to make sure that whatever you are doing, you have the access to your CoinStats portfolio, and you can receive notifications, and you can see if your crypto is going up. Then you'll be able to sell it on a very nice time and have your own profits. So let's get going. So that's exactly what we are doing, guys. We are aggregating all your data and provide advanced analytics for all your users. So basically, by having CoinStats app, you can track your crypto from all your centralized exchanges, wallets, and DeFi platforms. For example, in this presentation, we can see that you can track your crypto from Binance, CoinStats, from MetaMask, from Uniswap. If you are like providing the liquidity of Uniswap and you want to see your assets, you can do it easily. Also, crypto.com and all the major and minor centralized exchanges are also supported. Another beautiful thing to say is that we also support all these major and minor layer 1, layer 2 blockchains as well. So imagine that you are providing liquidity somewhere on BNB chain or Binance Smart chain, or maybe you are trying to swap on DEXs and you want to have all your transaction history. You want to see if you made money on this swap or you lost money on this swap. So actually, CoinStats provides that too. You can go to the transaction history section and see all your transactions. Basically, let's go to the next one. Here you can see only a small number of wallets and blockchains and centralized exchanges that we're supporting. So here you can see Binance, SafePal, we have MetaMask, blockchain.com, Gemini, Metis, Ton blockchain, whatever. Any blockchain you can think about or any centralized exchange you can think about is supported on CoinSense because our main goal is to make sure that you have the possibility to track all your crypto from one place. Actually, if we think about like Web2, there is no tool that gives you access to all your, let's say, neobanks from one place where you can track all your money. There is no tool like that. And it's only possible in crypto, in Web3, because our conference is all about Web3 and the possibilities that it provides. So CoinStats is like a huge example, a great example of an app which is only possible to be designed and to be executed in a Web3 sphere. Let's get going. So here on this page, you can see how your portfolio usually looks like. So basically, you have your own assets, your own cryptocurrencies, and here you can see your 25-hour P&L. You can see how much money you have earned from this topic, and as well as your DeFi position. So imagine you have been providing assets on Compound. So let's see. Imagine you just put, let's say, 2 Ethereums, you lend it, and then you borrow some USDT. So all your lent and borrowed assets could also be being available here. Also, there's an interesting fact about NFTs. All of our people who are interested in crypto, they also possess NFTs, these digital arts, which is a very beautiful form of digital possession of interesting items. So also your NFTs are available here. You can see the floor price, you can see all the collections you own, which is also very beautiful to have. And as I was talking before, you can also see your transaction history. So here we can see that the user has been trading, he has been paying fees, he has sent, he has received, and as well as swapped. So all of these on-chain activities seen on CoinStats. We have a huge base, we have a huge instruments, like a huge number of instruments, which provide you a great opportunity to see all your crypto assets from one place. Let's get going. And here, this is probably my favorite section, which is portfolio analytics. So this is one of the main things to have because most of the people who hold crypto assets, they cannot keep in their mind all that information because most of our users, they have at least 20 assets and they've been buying, they've been selling, they've been lending, they've been farming. And on CoinStats, you can see all your analytics in one place. So let's see how it works. Actually, you can see your asset allocations. You can see whether you have tokens, you have stable coins such as USDT, USDC, and others. Also, you can see your DeFi holdings all in one place. And we do believe that there is no solution on the market that provides you this amount of instruments to track your assets. Let's see what else we can see here. So here also there is a nice pie chart which shows you all your assets and you can see which percentage of each asset you have, and this will also help you to diversify your portfolio and to see which kind of assets have been growing in price. And this is one of the greatest things we have. You can see all your trading fees paid. So basically, a lot of traders, they do pay fees, which are mostly really compared to like let's say banking fees. But in any ways, when you have huge amount of trades, when you trade huge volumes, you definitely need to see how much fees you've been paying. And also one of our best stats and tools is P&L tool, which shows you your profit and loss. And this is very important for you to understand if you have earned money on a certain volatile crypto assets or you've lost. Let's see what's the next one. And this is the transactional section, which is very beautiful and very necessary for people who are really interested in copy trading. So imagine you found an interesting address of a big whale. You don't know who this whale is, but you've been tracking his history and you've been seeing that he's making constantly profits or mostly profits. So basically, what you can do, you can copy and paste this wallet on CoinStats, and then you're going to receive notifications each time this whale is doing some sort of transactions. He's buying, selling, he's receiving, or he's sending. And this is also very interesting and a great tool to have for DJs who really like to trade and who really like to go deeper into understanding all these on-chain activities. And also, there is a possibility to add a wallet via Ethereum name address. So as you know, most of the people, they do not like to have this long Ethereum address starting with 0x or whatever. So whatever you can do is, if there's a wallet which has an ENS, which is Ethereum name service, let's say Sergey.eth. So if you have this kind of ENS attached to your wallet, you can copy paste your ENS, and you will see immediately the wallet balance, which is really easy, and it brings your wallet address to a human readable form. Okay, and this is probably one of our most used features, which is alerts and notifications. So imagine you have bought Ethereum for $2,000, and then you want to sell it whenever the price gets $2,000 or $2,800, and you don't want to constantly monitor your app because you're busy with your own stuff. You're busy building something really wonderful. So whatever you can do is you can create an alert, and then whenever our system sees that Ethereum price has reached your indicated number, you're going to get a notification, and then immediately you'll be able to go and sell it. And this is also a great thing to have because you cannot be monitoring your crypto prices all day. This is a great thing to have. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is also very beautiful. And as we have around 1 million monthly active users who are constantly aggregating the data and analyzing, we're really interested to see how many CoinStats users have BTC, or how many people are storing their BTC inside a centralized exchange, which percentage of them is storing Bitcoin in their wallet. So this is also a very interesting thing to have if you want to have an understanding of overall market, and maybe these signals will help you understand which way is the market moving or going. So yeah, I think that was all. It was my pleasure to be with you. I really hope that you use CoinStats app for making the right decisions for buying and selling assets. And in general, if you are new to crypto, keep studying, keep looking for great opportunities. And as one of our speakers told before, you always have a lot of opportunities because crypto companies are paying a lot of bonuses, are giving a lot of rewards for the people to come to participate. Thank you, and wish you all a great fortune.
Thank you, Tigran, so much. You know, for me, I saw so many applications of the banking system, and it looks like super app for the crypto space. It's good, interesting. We will check it out. And we are moving forward, guys. We're saying to Tigran, bye-bye. See you very soon. And we are waiting for our next speaker. He is Senior Partnership Manager at Cointelegraph. And you know, before waiting for him, let's have a 3-minute so-called break and use this time to refresh, catch up on our raffle updates, and get ready for more great discussions ahead. See you in just a moment, and Zeyhan is on the way.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Circuit National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
To the blockchain, iterative, legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the dream like I built Rock Nation, I'm securing my name. Digital currency, changing the narrative. Host got the blueprint, we change imperative. Legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the journey's grand. We change the empire, understand the plan.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Syracuse National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
Yes, guys, Zain Khan, Senior Partnership Manager at Cointelegraph, is with us. The topic is about the role of marketing in Web3 growth. I'm happy to see Zain here, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Sergey, for the introduction. And firstly, welcome to all the audience, who's around here watching this. I've been watching the stream as well. I hope you guys are enjoying this great show that, all the organizers have pulled together. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm talking of something around marketing. Like this is something that we do at Cointelegraph and something, that I've been doing in the Web3 since quite a long time. So it'll be a pleasure to share, the experiences that I've learned over time, the mistakes that we did, and something that, like you guys can learn as trends are concerned. So let's jump over this. Very quick overview. I'm just going to cover 4 subjects here. It's going to be 15 minutes. And the first is going to be why marketing matters. The second is about the power of branding. Third part is how to prepare, when it comes to marketing in Web3, and some recent trends, that we figured out are quite hot when it comes, to marketing in Web3. So these are the top subjects, but let's jump over to something very basic. It's something very, ingrained in us. Like, why do we actually need marketing, right? Like, why does it matter? Why should I market my product out? There are tons of reasons behind them. I've just highlighted 3 of them. I think, most of the folks watching here, and comment and let us know if you don't know about this, but most of the folks watching here would be knowing the importance, that marketing holds when it comes to not just Web3 as an industry, but in general, when it comes to business, especially in the present age. From our side, we feel that there are 3 major reasons why marketing becomes something very core. This drives growth, something that all projects are looking for. This, you have to create a purpose-driven community around them, which is very important. When it comes to fostering customer relationships, marketing plays a very pivotal role as well. And the narrative that you build in the market remains, right? So narrative is very important. The third part, which is also very important, is sales and revenue, right? Like, this helps you make more money. So you spend money on marketing, but eventually it balances out because you get more users onto your product, let's say. And today we're talking about beyond banking, right? So we're not just looking at Web3, but, Sergio, I thought, and others as well, I thought we're going to do a very quick one-on-one with the power of branding, like, why has branding played such an important role over time? And in Web3, we are driven by community, as all of us know, right? I was watching 2 other speakers speak about the neobanks and, how neobanks are changed into deobanks, right? So when it comes to banking, right, like when it comes to beyond banking, you got to remember that community for what you're building on is super important, and community never forgets. So something done right is always going to be remembered, and something done wrong is always going to be remembered too. Branding also plays a huge level when it comes to building trust. This is important for building recognition in the market too. It is also super important to have a memorable identity behind you, which is, the role of branding as well, and increases your business value. But last and not the least, this is also an inspiring thing for your employees, right? When you have the right branding, they want to work with you, and it's a teamwork that makes you win. The next part that I want to cover here is how to prepare for this, right? Like, how do you prepare your brand when it comes to Web3 and when it comes to Web3 marketing? I'm going to take a little pause on this, right? Because there is no right or wrong in this. There's no quantitative or qualitative way to do this. It really depends on what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve that. What metrics do you have in mind that, that are going to help you achieve that particular goal that you're looking to do? It's an open-ended thing, but you can still, circle it down and figure out how, you can basically prepare yourself on this. Cool. So moving next, this is how we feel, branding and marketing and, whole sort of Web3 story narrative is going to be simple. The first and foremost thing that you guys can do is think of yourself as the end user, right? Like, think that whatever product you're creating, whatever service you're planning to offer, whatever, we are so creative, let's say, when it comes to Web3 field, because we're still, moving out and we're developing new things, and, there's a huge learning curve that people are facing. But take a break and think on whether this is something that you want to use or not, right? Like, think of, while creating something, while you're innovating this, think of yourself as the end user and ask yourself the question, why is it important to you? Why would you want to spend time on an app? Or, why would you want to go on that X blockchain? What drives you to do that? Think of yourself as an end user. Super important. Second most important thing that we've learned over time as well is, because it's community driven, Web3 is very community sided. You get to how to have a lot of UGC coming up your way, right? Like a lot of user generated content that comes. When it does, use it your way. Use it to promote it in the market. The biggest benefit that you will realize while you do this is that this gives a sense of authenticity to your users. So when somebody else is talking about your product versus when you're talking about your product, there's a huge difference between them. So whenever you find any sort of UGC where your community have posted something, whether it is about why they like your service, why they dislike your service too, you could always promote that and say, this is how I'm going to improve because one of my customer didn't like it. So that's a transparent way to think of this. Again, something very important and something that I always focus on is thinking outside the box. Very easy to say, very difficult to do, but you gotta be a bit beyond the normal when it comes to delivering something exquisite, especially because presently the field of Web3 in the present phase is very clustered with tons of projects around the same, trying to solve the same problem, let's say. So if you think outside the box, this gives you a little bit of unique advantage when it comes to finding customers or when it comes to building partnerships, when it comes to, doing the overall work of growing your business. But if you keep it simple and you do all the hard work, and talk to your people, you can do this. So that's, one-on-one on marketing. But moving on, I'm going to touch some recent trends, something that people have eventually realized that over time, trends do roll. Now, when I say trends, don't just think of them as, buzzwords, right? Like, don't think of them as something that is just trending for now. Think of them as a long-term industry holding potential when it comes to, growing things. Some marketing trends are very, very old. They've been used by tons of, big companies that we might all be aware of. Let's say Coca-Cola, or let's say Nestle, or let's say, how your toothpaste came into being, right? Like these sort of trends have been used by these big corporate giants since a long, long time, when they were not even corporate, so to say. But in Web3, some trends that are really working well, I think there are two big sides that anyone can implement when it comes to this is bounty campaigns. Bounty campaigns are another way to bring people into your product, help them create something about yourself, about your product, about, let's say, an article, right? So you could release a bounty for community to figure out how they can write about your product, and instead of you paying your content writer, you pay to someone in your community. A cooler way to do this, there's tons of platforms. There is a lot of ways how you can achieve this, but this is something that does play, I would say, quite a big role. I would quickly also talk about momentum marketing. This is something which is not very well known at the moment, but this is catching flair as things are moving. And I would give it a bigger chunk, let's say, when it comes to even bounty programs. Momentum marketing is just a very, in simple language, is just a way for a normal person to differentiate themselves with their competitor. So when you're creating these sort of campaigns which are driven by momentum, which means you're not saying that they are bad, or you're not saying they don't have this, or we have this, or we are the first ones doing this. It's actually bringing that whole, bucket together and then talking about it, let's say, with a research report. A new form of momentum marketing, which is, quite catching up the flavor for now, but helps, this helps, right? So if you think of launching a new product, if you think to go beyond banking, let's say after this, watching this conference, and you're like, hey, look, I'm so motivated, I want to do this. Think of just opening something with your UGC side, like get people to actually start creating something for you. And in terms of the second side, we could be having momentum marketing. But that's not it. There's a lot more when it comes to trends which have worked very well in the market. Let's say when Binance started, what made them grow so big as an exchange? A lot of syndication, content syndication happens, right? So content syndication is basically the same content is promoted by different people, talking about the same narrative that you hold at the back. A cool way, again, a very digital way to do this embargo is something, close to us as journalists, as writers, as, people of the industry, where there's a specific period of time for people who don't know what I mean with embargo, where the information is withheld with media. So before it goes out in public, there's this embargo period into this. And this, again, if you look at embargo pitching or embargo marketing or another ways of, promoting embargo-based journalism, it's a very cool way to put your word out in the market. Affiliates, again, most of us know about this, but affiliate marketing is also a nicer way. Something that we are noticing is also a lot of education-focused gamification. So you could think of having your product, with a focus on certain education-based theme. Why I see education itself, not just gamification, which is explored by industry quite a lot, is because these sort of education-focused stuff makes people learn about your product too. And something that over time we've realized a lot of people are lacking the skills, that how to use a wallet. The basics of Web3 that most of us might be knowing at the moment is quite Greek, to many. So if you create education-focused gamification, it works. Lastly, but not the least, is also a lot of online and offline events. So if you're planning to launch down a product, if you're thinking, hey, like, how do I actually do this? You could also start something online or offline and bring people together. There's a huge, huge, huge power, in bringing people together, and events is something that holds quite a lot of value, when it comes to marketing, so to say. So to sum up my presentation, with this, I want to thank everyone, and I want to say, hope you guys like this. It's just an early stage when it comes to, Web3, and marketing is playing a very big role at the moment. So be watchful, study, educate yourself, feel free, express yourself in the way you are, and participate, listen, visit, increase your exposure level, and enjoy whatever you're doing. So if you want to see me around, I might be around in global conferences here and there, mostly in Dubai, but will be a pleasure to meet everyone. And thank you, Sergi. Thank you, everyone, to pull this amazing show. Let's get the guineas out of the bag with this one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this interesting way to talk. We are saying to you goodbye for now. See you very soon, Zain. My pleasure to have you here in the conference. Dear audience, we are moving forward to our panel discussion, but right now, attention everyone. It's time for the code word, which is WeFi Bank. Now that you have it, head over to the Telegram bot. Link is below the video. Send this code to the word, and if you have subscribed to the both channels, you're officially entered into the raffle. 4 lucky winners will take home incredible prizes today. And remember, the more tickets you have for the Ferrari drawing, the better your chances of winning on June 14. Good luck to you, my friends, and let's keep moving forward to a panel discussion. Very soon, we are anticipating our panelists, and while we are waiting for them to join, let's hit a break just for 3 minutes. It's the perfect time to stretch, grab a coffee, or even strategize how to win that Ferrari. Stay with us. We'll be back very soon.
Hey, Bangkok, it's me, Mike Tyson, and I'm coming there very soon, June 14th, as the special guest for WeFi Beyond Banking Summit. Man, it's going to be awesome. It's at Syracuse National Convention Center. I hope to see you there. I'll be there only until June 14th. Don't miss out. See ya.
Hello, and welcome to Crypto Week in Dubai. I'm speaking at the On-Chain Summit today, giving a keynote here in just a little bit about programmable money and the rise of stablecoins and how they're going to change the future of finance. I'm really excited to provide a shout out to the WeFi community. We're going to be having a great event in June in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And so with the advent of programmable money and stablecoins, and then adding an on-chain bank to that, we create a very powerful financial institution that will finally include the rest of the world. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me on that journey.
To the blockchain, iterative, legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the dream like I built Rock Nation, I'm secure in my name. Digital currency, changing the narrative. Host got the blueprint, we change imperative. Legacy strong with every transaction. On the blockchain, there's no distractions. From the projects to the palace, the journey's grand, we change the empire. Understand the plan.
Yeah, Reeve, please. Guys, we are back. Our speakers joined us, and it means now it's time to dive into one of the biggest questions in crypto today. What's the next big narrative? But before, well, let's meet our speakers. Agne Lingi, head of the growth at WeFi. Agne.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, we're happy that you're here with us. Reeve Collins, co-founder of Tether and chairman at WeFi. Reeve.
Hello, hello.
And Alex Shehade, ex-general manager finance FZA, now in Avalabs, Exchange Wallets, and me, your host and moderator, Sergey Sevansan. You know, guys, crypto has always been about innovation, constantly evolving with new ideas and technologies. But right now, two narratives are gaining serious momentum. RWA, the next level of stablecoins with Web3, and AI, decentralized AI. RWAs, which stands for real-world assets, are redefining stablecoins, bringing tangible value into the blockchain space. At the same time, AI is pushing decentralization to new heights, transforming how we interact with Web3 and expanding the possibilities of autonomous systems. Where are these trends headed? What opportunities and challenges do they bring? That's exactly what we are here to explore. And I will happy to give a mic to Agne, your thoughts and your vision. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Sergey, for such an honor to start this panel. I'm pleased to be here together with Reeve and Alex. Hello. And indeed, Sergey, as you mentioned, those two trends are very much significant, very much visible in the crypto ecosystem itself. Now, you said, what are the trends in crypto specifically? So let's discuss that. But it's very clear what trends surrounding crypto are in the world itself. As Reeve right now is in the United States, I assume in the Bitcoin conference, we can see that the world is talking very much about Bitcoin itself. And the government's current trend is talking about the stable coins. I know that in South Korea, there are currently presidential elections, and they're very much talking about this topic. But let's get back to the topic of this panel. What are the trends in crypto, which are, as you say, RWAs and decentralized AI? So before RWAs and before yield-bearing stablecoins, we had normal stablecoins. So basically, dollar-backed stablecoin, dollar, and you have a dollar-backed stablecoin. But right now we have yield-bearing stablecoins. That means that the stablecoin they invest in other assets, and this RWAs means real-world assets. These are the tokenized assets. Could be anything from financial instruments such as bonds, right, to commodities and even real estate. This new trend reminds me a little bit of a trend, and I'm sure Reeve and Alex will remember. In 2018, there was a security token trend where we were saying that those utility tokens, they were for utility of blockchain, and now we're going to bring real assets on the blockchain with security token. And this didn't happen. I do remember it was, I think, an issue with the legal real world things that actually have to do, which I'm sure we'll discuss in the panel. But right now the situation has changed. We have advanced in the crypto ecosystem. So I think this is a very interesting route, and also interesting route to TradeFi, to institutionals to tap into. So we're clearly seeing this trend. In terms of decentralized AI, I think this topic is very loud and everywhere among the top leaders and among the regular people. So who is providing, who is the source of our AI, how our data is being managed? So are decentralized AI providers, are they going to be ruling everything? And there's a lot of calling for decentralized AI in terms of it bringing better privacy, etc. So I'll give the word to other panelists. I'd like to hear their thoughts as well.
Thank you. Reeve Collins, now your turn. Give us, a little bit tips what's going on market and what we're able to predict.
Yes, it's great to be here from Las Vegas. I've been coming to these conferences for well over a decade. And my friend actually started this one a long time ago, David Bailey with the Bitcoin conference. And this year there was 35,000 people in attendance. But more importantly, we had the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance was here. The president's son, Eric Trump, he was here. And so it just goes to show the massive shift that has taken place. Everybody has an opinion about Donald Trump, but no matter what you think about him, what he's done for the crypto industry, because he's so much embracing it, has been a complete game changer. It's difficult to express how big of an impact just his support has been for crypto. Because in the United States, nothing has changed yet. No regulations have changed. They're just finally coming, but they're not here yet. And so just the fact that he said, you know what, I like crypto versus I want to put everybody in jail, the last few administrations, has given everyone the confidence to move forward. And most importantly, when I say everyone, I mean the institutions, the people that actually control the monetary system globally, like the big corporations that move all the money around the world, they are now embracing crypto. And since they're embracing crypto, and that amount of money is about to flow into crypto, it's a complete game changer. And what Agnes said around security tokens versus RWAs, they are identical. This entire narrative that everybody's hearing about today started in 2018. And back then it's because it makes a lot of sense. They want to tokenize securities, and securities are just income streams or an ability for you to earn income on future performance. But it was highly illegal. And so tried to tokenize it, and there was just so much regulatory headwind. However, fast forward now 7 years, and RWAs, which is the exact same thing as a security token, now it's a real world asset being tokenized. This is the narrative, because back then it made a lot of sense, and it still makes sense. But the world is ready, the regulations are here, and the governments are supporting it. So from a high level, what does that really mean for especially everybody here listening? Because a lot of people on this live stream are from around the world. A lot of you guys don't have excellent access to banking, like a lot of the developed countries. Even in developed countries, sometimes it's so-so. But a lot of people have good access to banking, and so they can buy these traditional assets. But the rest of the world, a majority of the population, does not. And so that's what it really means. It's the democratization, meaning the equal access to very high quality investments, very high quality assets that were only available in the traditional world. Now they're all being put on chain and they'll be easily accessible to everybody. So that's a future that we're all really looking forward to.
Amazing. I like this point of view. Alex, your turn. We would like to hear from you as well.
I'd like to tell a slightly different story. Obviously, I was around at this point, and if we look at Tether, Reef's former company, right? The use case for USDT originally was crystallizing crypto profits, allowing crypto exchanges to trade. The use case was there. It was allowing representation of dollar to be transferred like other cryptos between crypto exchanges, and that was a great product market fit, and AUM grew, and Tether has been a phenomenal success. Now, as the markets mature, technology's matured, and people have become more comfortable, the use case of stable tokens has broadened, right? So businesses, trade finance companies, they see the ability, they see the benefit of peer-to-peer settlement on blockchain, the ability to make payments without intermediaries, the speed and transparency. So that additional use case is being picked up, which is further accelerating the use of blockchain, crypto settlement. And so, and going back to what Agni and Reeve said, right, this allows you to start building new financial infrastructure, making people quite self-sovereign, transferring cross-border friends and family, paying bills. There's much more utility in stables. Now, and everyone can see that it's starting to work. I think there's about $3 billion of B2B transactions on stables a month. So, as you say, why not start tokenizing other assets, moving from money market funds, actual funds, going back again to democratization? You can start tokenizing things where the barrier to entry is like $1 million. Now, not everyone has $1 million, but you tokenize it. Now we're talking about $5, $10, $100, and you're giving that access. So, the use case is being expanded, and we're now capitalizing on that. The first things really that we saw for sort of RWA is gold, right? And the reason that gold was put on tokens is it's relatively well traded. The pricing is easy. It's very easy. You can write in Google how much is a kilo of gold, and it will tell you in your local currency, and you can make that transaction. Now we're finding better pricing mechanism, better pricing discovery for these assets, and better apps to allow people to start accessing these markets that were not as accessible, and that's net beneficial for everyone. As the financial markets open up, there's more liquidity, more transparency, and I think there should be more innovation, and that's what we're seeing.
Thank you. I would like to share my personal story because we are here beyond banking, right? And me personally, I'm traveling a lot around the globe. I can recognize myself truly digital nomad. And I have at least 5 to 6 bank accounts around the globe. But always what kind of problem I face when I come into a new country, I need to somehow convince the banking system to understand my documents and open simple banking account. But here in a crypto space, specifically related to the stable coins, I don't have to ask permission to anyone because in each and every location, the exchanges of USDT, and a stable coin to the local currency happening like this, very easy in a very affordable rate. It means I'm using it as a real banking system around the globe. Maybe this is the next big thing. Maybe this is the next narrative. I don't know, because we never covered the topic about AI. Bitcoin itself is really the biggest things which happened, let's say, the last 10 years, or not 50, 20 years. I'm talking about the crypto space. But AI also right now, super, very good, the thing which used by everyone. The people who somehow dealing with digital space, somehow AI is really used. Agne, the mic is yours right now. Maybe you will discover how we need to understand this world, because crypto itself needs narrative 1,000,000%. Otherwise, no bull run, nothing will happen.
Right. So I think that narratives in the crypto ecosystem, this was what was fueling all these bull runs and fluctuations. I think Alex would agree with me that the ecosystem has changed. The retail has changed. The market is not the same as it used to be in the previous cycle. We are definitely maturing. I think everybody can feel that. I could repeat myself. We don't see a new retail coming in, so we are here in the ecosystem that we have built. However, the bigger world is opening up with us, as we've said, with the help of Donald Trump. Now, many more governments are already announcing Bitcoin strategic reserves and looking into this. So, how to navigate this crypto ecosystem? I think eventually, and this is what everybody was saying, the people will be using crypto and AI ecosystems without knowing they're using that. They will be using them in the app like Wi-Fi. They will be doing the services that they need for their daily life. They don't know that the data is being processed with AI, that all the transactions are being securely monitored by AI, that perhaps some of the transactions are being on-chain computed and some off-chain. So this is not something that is very important for real user, let's say, but it is important to educate yourself and to understand how you can make your life easier. Let's say how AI and Web3 are converging. We have now AI agents, right, that can operate on top of blockchains. They operate together with smart contracts, and they can help you. They already do help a lot of people to balance your portfolio. In a previous panel, Roman was talking about how it can make decisions for DAOs easier, how they can analyze data and can help even allocate your treasury. So AI and Web3 are definitely converging, and we have to learn how to use this in order to help it and to ease our daily lives. And certainly they have a lot of financial decision making. Yeah, so this would be my advice to, as you say, how to navigate the current ecosystem. Definitely keep learning. Even the people who are deep inside the ecosystem, whether it's AI or crypto, they have to keep learning every day because things are changing so fast.
Amazing. Reeve?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. AI is another massive revolution, and no one knows how it's going to change how everybody interacts in their day-to-day life, but we all are very optimistic that it's going to overall be a big benefit. And there might be a lot of growing pains along the way as systems shift and are completely reinvented, because change is hard. A lot of people are used to doing what they're doing, or a lot of people have these jobs that are actually now being replaced. And if the individuals do not lean deeply into AI and truly learn how to make it work for themselves, then AI will replace a lot of what they're doing. And so the goal is for AI to not replace people, but it's for people to use AI so they're more productive. Because the amount of work an individual can now get done used to be the amount of work it took 10 people to get done, or even more in some instances. And so my advice and request to everyone listening is use AI constantly, as much as you can. Learn it, like make it part of your lives. Every time a new AI release comes out or a new feature in whatever AI you're using, learn about it. Don't say, oh, well, I'm used to this way. I don't need that. This does enough. You really need to learn what those new features are doing, because it'll keep you current. Because with the speed of innovation and of new features and functionalities being released, you will quickly get left behind if you're not at least dabbling and paying attention and really trying to master this new trend. Because AI is going to be everywhere. It's going to be in every type of interaction and transaction and business that you do. And as Agna mentioned, WeFi, we're leaning into AI. Most companies need to be AI first, because the blockchain and transactions, especially in the cryptocurrency world, are very complex. You can do a lot of different things, and all these things typically revolve around your money. How do you balance your portfolio? How do you send money from here to there? How do you do different exchanges? And how do you keep your money safe? And to do all of that, it's complicated. But now with AI, you'll be able to speak into your phone and it'll happen. And so it is a very bright future as long as we all embrace it.
Alex would like to hear you too.
Yeah, sure. So again, let's look at why crypto works for AI, right? So we're talking about AI agents, right? So again, crypto outshines because it's peer-to-peer. So your agent can pay people without having to KYC, without having to go through intermediaries that maybe won't want to interact with AI agents or don't know how to interact. It's you know, we have public permissionless chains for interaction. Now, this is again the beauty that we have with blockchain is things run on these with nodes that are completely decentralized. We have immutable networks, but what we also have now is we have permissioned blockchains. We have so we have public permissionless. We can have public permissioned. We can have private permissioned, private unpermissioned, right? And for the multitude of all these sorts of transactions, right? If we're talking about banking transactions again, you don't want that to be as public as it is, right? So, you know, we as an industry, we do struggle with public blockchains, and you know, it's you know, as they say for you know the original Bitcoin, right? No feature. We need to understand how we protect people's identities and allow them to be self-sovereign, but keeping you know identities hidden, because you know that's private and should just be for the right kind of people to look at. So the blockchain enables AI to function and do what we want it to do. And if we build the right tools, it enables us to live safely and happily doing what we want that serves ourselves, right? So we're lucky that we had this. And again, going back to throwbacks, you know, like IOTA, this was, I guess, a blockchain that was trying to get all your computers and smartwatches and kettles and fridges to go talk to each other, right? So again, first pass, we didn't quite make it, but I think we're much closer this time. So inshallah, we should get there.
Thank you, Alex. You know, I would like to shift the conversation into the just upcoming future, how our future going to looks like, because looks like it's inevitable that AI agents going to be here everywhere. They're going to be millions, billions, and they will survive and will work for us, not instead of us, but for us. We are beneficiary. What's about the transaction? Does it mean that transaction will be done by AI agents between themselves? It means they will be part of this new kind crypto monetary system or not? Because people are really scared. We, as a human beings, they are not. There are some billions of people who unbanked, steal, and trying to figure out alternative ways. And right now we're shifting to the momentum when the robots or AI agents going to use these technologies. Agne, what's your thoughts about this? Am I touch something realistic or not?
It is indeed. I think a lot of us try to answer similar questions, like how robots are going to rule us, how the world will be interacting. There is even a very interesting book, I think it's called World 3.0, which is analyzing different type of utopia scenarios. What I understand that there are centralized AIs and decentralized AIs are developing, right? So centralized AIs, there are language learning models that are like OpenAI, etc. And then decentralized AIs that are developing, and they are taking data from blockchain, from oracles, etc. So they're two different things. And I think that how I understand the AI is coded and they operate according to how the code was done. And then they run the smart contract in order to get their data and then do the computations, whatever necessary, and then record the transaction on the blockchain. So in my understanding right now, everything still depends on the person who coded, on the team who coded this AI agent. I don't know the stage of development of AIs themselves, but perhaps they can code themselves in the future. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think at this stage, we still need somebody to give them tasks, to give them the smart contract codes in order for them to operate.
Yes. Reeve, your view to this upcoming future.
I always like to say the future is bright because we get to choose. Are we pessimists or optimists? It's just a whole lot more fun being an optimist because nobody knows, right? But there's a lot of smart people doing their best to make AI serve us and work for us. And then ideally, that type of technology will make our lives better and easier and will really help lift global poverty, lift the standard of living for people across the world, because with these advanced technologies where they're making everything faster and cheaper and more accessible, then people's standard of living will increase. You mentioned, is it going to be AI agents to AI agents? Yes, AI agents are going to be running almost all transactions because they're so much better, so much more efficient, and so much smarter than humans. So it's up to us to use it to our advantage. I really believe AI is going to be how we interact with, especially our monetary transactions, blockchain transactions, because you can speak into it and it will do what you want. And soon it will almost know what you want before you do. I don't know how much you guys lean into it today, like ChatGPT or things like that. But let's say you've been using ChatGPT for a while. You can ask it to tell it about yourself. You can do these interesting prompts to say, tell me about all the things I don't know about me. Tell me where I can improve. Tell me what my blind spots are. And even today, the insights that it can give you already about yourself are mind-blowing just due to how you've been using it in the past. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it's going to seem like magic really soon.
Reeve, I literally love your positive view, because on a previous panel discussion, we have been in a little bit negative way. All of us get scared what's happening, and I'm super happy that this second panel discussion is drawing on a positive direction. Alex, your turn.
I'll stay positive as well. Let's
why not?
Let's end the week. Yeah. Look, as Reeve said, look, this is one of the reasons why, I'm based in the UAE. This is one of the reasons why the UAE is doubling down on AI and blockchain, because it levels up their economy. The UAE is a small nation. It's wealthy, but it's small. It's underpopulated. And to compete on a level playing field with bigger nations, more developed nations with better infrastructure, they need to find a way to sort of accelerate that. And so AI accelerates that. AI gives the population and the workers and everyone that's within that country, superpowers, right? 10x. We saw this in the US where Bill Clinton was running the administration, and we moved computers, and then productivity, GDP goes up like a rocket, right? And so we're seeing another kind of ability for people to use these tools, right? And there's always apprehension with new tools, but once it's been bedded in, once everyone's comfortable, you can't imagine living without it, right? It will become a creature comfort. And so it gives people the freedom to spend more time on, I guess, more intellectually pure pursuits. There's a lot of grunt work, evaluating smart contracts, checking financial transactions before you're doing it, second checking things. It gives people, I think, a lot more comfort and freedom. You can ask chat questions that you might not ask somebody else, right? Because you don't mind. So you can query, right? You can ask as many stupid questions as you want. You can double check. You're not wasting people's time. And so I think it gives people much more freedom, right? And then you'll grow as a person. You can, as Reeve said, you can ask them for your problems. I mean, you can have heart-to-hearts with it these days, and really sort of grow as a person. And so I don't think we should be scared. I think we should embrace it. It will be a double-edged sword. It's a powerful piece of technology, but technology is powerful, and it has been for the last couple of 100 years.
I completely agree with Alex, because in terms of education, AI is one of the best teachers you can ever imagine. Human beings cannot be as good at that. In terms of the digital workers, amazing copywriters, person who finding things very fast, who can do statistics, analyze the thing much more faster than human beings. We have to admit with this. But at the end of today's panel discussion, I would like to listen your personal message to the humanity, to the people who trying to figure out what to do in this complicated, so many technologies behind. On one way, AI, it's disrupted banking system. We are beyond banking. I'm talking about the crypto space. AI right now changes everything around us. And people who used to live, I know, 30, 40, 50 years right now get disappointed. Okay, what's happening with this world? Who's these people who's embracing or bringing these technologies on the table? What to do for them? And what kind of things the new generation has to come to take this for them as a good tool to use for good in a positive way, not just to disrupt everything and destroy. Agnet.
Thank you, Sergey, for the question. And I'll start from the back of your question. I think we can already learn from the younger generation, from younger than us, on many, many technological tools, maybe even AI. I have no idea what some age groups are doing at this point. I think I will say the same as I would have said even 10 years ago. I think educational learning, it's very important at each stages of our generation of where the technology is. And it's much more important today because everything is pretty normal and novel, and we're moving much faster than it used to be before. The technology is moving very fast. As Reef said, let's use this AI, let's understand how it works. And the same thing, let's learn about blockchain, let's learn about crypto, let's learn about this all digital financial services, because you already see we cannot run away from these things. Yes, we can be resistant, maybe this will not work or this and that, but we are in the technological environment, we are in technological age, and we have to learn how to live with that. So this is why WeFi is also coming to disturb the banking services and to disturb how financial services are even being viewed, not the way it used to be viewed in traditional banking way. So same, we will also to reimagine how our daily work is looking with AI. So just let's keep learning and let's keep balance also. I would like to advise, as you asked for, Dice. I think everywhere is a balance. There's too much technology can disturb and ruin our lives. Too much doom scrolling or useless, let's say, spending time on technology. But nevertheless, for each its own. And I think it's great that we live in technology that helps our life to make it easier.
Yes, the word goes to Reeve. You are in so many projects, you see so many companies and so many, literally just disrupting technologies. Where to go, what to see, what to follow?
That's a good point. And I guess my advice to everyone is don't be overwhelmed, because there are a lot of things to do. There are a lot of things to learn and technologies to use, but just use the ones that feel right for you, that you enjoy. For a long time, I've been preaching cryptocurrency and for everyone to get involved in Bitcoin, and no one understood what Bitcoin or blockchain or how to get involved. I'm like, start with buying a little Bitcoin. I've been saying that forever. And that's all. Just start, because then you open up a wallet, you hold the currency. And then you'll get interested because that currency goes up or down or up. And then you buy more. Then you use the next thing and you take it one step at a time. And so with AI, don't be overwhelmed. With blockchain, don't be overwhelmed. Like, that's the whole point of WeFi, is to make it really simple, put it in a very pretty box, and give you a lot of services, and put the community at the center. Because the one thing that blockchain and then AI is making blockchain more accessible. So the one thing this package is doing for everyone is providing a higher level, especially in the WeFi case, a higher level of financial services and access to better investments and better ways to use your money than ever before. So that's something to be really positive about, and just lean into whatever aspect of these technologies interest you and become an expert or just competent and enjoy it.
Thank you. Alex, what's your best advice to the humanity?
Yeah, to further on from Reeve, right? The best way to learn is to do, right? So experiment, right? And whether that's, you can experiment on testnet, or you can experiment with extremely small amounts of money, right? And it gives you, the right kind of economic incentive, right? As Reeve says, you're in the game, you can speculate, you can look, it gives you interest, there's variation, there's fluctuation, and so it spurs you to go explore and discover. And again, as you both mentioned, there's a multitude of things to do. Not everyone enjoys everything, right? So there's plenty of different tools, and the best way to learn is not to sort of struggle through and grind. It's to enjoy, and you'll sail through it, right? So you don't need to be an expert of everything, but enjoy where you put your time, and you will become much better, and you will become much more accomplished, where you enjoy, you're engaged, you play, and that's how that's how we, before books and everything else, we learned, right, through playing, experimenting, right? So continue that. This is how we're built, and so don't fight that. There's a wide world of financial products, games, social fi, whatever your heart desires is coming there. And perhaps if it doesn't exist, you can create it, and you can then lead it. But it's there. The permissionless nature of crypto puts the power in your hands to do that, right? So either engage with what's there or build something yourself. It's wide open space. If you're not as technically competent, then you can go to AI, right? You can go and with a natural language prompt, start pushing out smart contracts, get to an MVP, and then you can bring in technical people, right? It's the ability with AI allows you to access things that you couldn't access before, and you should just embrace that.
Got it. I like your advice to the people finally to test something, because you know what? Why crypto is not faced its main utility is the utility of the crypto for me is comes like as a money, and looks like all the people on the planet have a chance to download very simple wallet. Is no need to ask permission to anyone, no need to go open account or provide your personal information to the banks. You're able to download and start use it on everyday life whenever you are, no matter what you do. This is one thing, but in this case, AI, it's steps a little bit much more forward. Maybe it's provide much more beneficiaries for the human beings in terms of education, in terms of learning something, in terms of mentorship. I saw so many people using it in terms of understanding how the world around you works. And let's finish this conversation with Bitcoin, because this is the king of our cryptocurrency. And right now you're at the Bitcoin conference. Agne, how do you feel? Bitcoin still is the major, let's say, the major narrative which America talks about, or how we are going?
I think Reeve will better answer this question being there physically, but I am watching the news. I'm watching Bloomberg and all the American news. It definitely feels this way. Like before, crypto was mentioned in more like a villain way, especially from the United States. Right now, it's a big thing for sure. That's what I'm hearing.
100%.
I would like to know, does Bitcoin really become the new digital gold, as Donald Trump discussed it or been presented? Because it's super cool. It really things getting changed.
What do you mean, does it become the digital gold? It's been the digital gold. We've had it for over a decade. I mean, right? It's been that. The rest of the world's just finding that out. But the government's going to start buying it. There's a lot of rumors saying the U.S. is actually going to start purchasing Bitcoin, as well as all of these other countries, as well as individual states are creating Bitcoin reserves. And then a lot of companies are going public and holding Bitcoin as a balance sheet asset. Some of them are pure plays, just Bitcoin on the balance sheet, meaning billions of dollars of buy pressure, and they're not going to be selling. And so that eventually drives prices up. So yes, Bitcoin has a very, very bright future.
I see. Alex?
Yeah, I think we've seen this from this current Bitcoin conference, right? It's not. I mean, it's not just about Bitcoin being its isolated product. There's now innovation built on top, right? They're like, right, if we are using it as a store of value, or a mechanism to disenfranchise away from fiat currency, then what can we do with it, right? How do we lend and borrow with it? How do we build the official products that exist today, and exist today for some of them for very good reason. And so it looks, and from what I've seen watching the conference, that these conversations are happening, right? If central banks, businesses, people are using this as a sort of monetary store of value, then they still need to do things, right? You still need to buy property, right? So do you then transact in that Bitcoin, or do you borrow against that Bitcoin like we do with current mortgages, right? When you buy a house, you borrow money. So maybe you're borrowing money against your Bitcoin, and then you buy a house. There's a lot of layers of complexity now that we can add onto Bitcoin, and perhaps some new products and services that we're not aware of, right? So I think it's coming into fruition, and I think everyone's much more positive since this new administration's come in.
It's really pleasure to have you today on this Beyond Banking conference. Agne, Alex, Riv Collins, I'm happy that you share your own vision and thoughts, what's going to happen next. As a visionary, as a people who in this industry so long time, guys, we need to move forward. I'm saying you bye-bye for now. And we are ready to welcome Mr. President here as well. And, but before he's coming, if you haven't done it yet, make sure that you register for our social channels. The raffle is still ahead, and you don't want to miss your chance to win, right? Take this moment to check in, get sent, and